Oscar Wilde, born on October 16, 1854, in Dublin, Ireland, was a literary giant and a key figure in the late Victorian era. His life was marked by artistic brilliance, flamboyance, and tragedy. The son of prominent intellectuals Sir William Wilde, a well-known surgeon, and Jane Wilde, a poet and fervent supporter of Irish nationalism, Oscar grew up in a stimulating environment which sparked his lifelong love for literature and art. Wilde attended Trinity College, Dublin, where he excelled academically and won several accolades. He later went on to study at Oxford University, where he embraced the philosophy of aestheticism, a belief that art should exist for its beauty alone, independent of moral or utilitarian functions. Wilde's motto, "Art for art's sake," was central to his identity and would later be a hallmark of his literary works. At Oxford, he was influenced by thinkers like Walter Pater and John Ruskin, who shaped his views on art, beauty, and life. Wilde's university years were formative in more ways than one. He became known not only for his academic brilliance, but also for his unique style and wit. His personal aesthetic was carefully cultivated: long flowing hair, flamboyant dress, and a sharp tongue. These traits made Wilde a striking figure in social circles, gaining him attention and notoriety as a dandy. After leaving Oxford in 1878, Wilde settled in London, where he quickly made a name for himself as a leading figure in literary and artistic circles. He published his first major work, a collection of poetry titled Poems, in 1881, which established him as a writer of note. However, it was his sharp and witty plays that would bring him widespread fame. His major theatrical works, such as Lady Windermere's Fan, 1892, A Woman of No Importance, 1893, An Ideal Husband, 1895, and his most celebrated play, The Importance of Being Earnest, 1896, are masterful social comedies that satirize the hypocrisy and absurdities of upper-class Victorian society. Wilde's only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1890, is a Gothic tale that explores themes of vanity, moral corruption, and the consequences of a life devoted to hedonism. While the novel caused controversy for its perceived immorality, it remains a cornerstone of English literature. At the height of his career, Wilde's personal life began to overshadow his professional achievements. In 1884, he married Constance Lloyd, with whom he had 2 sons, Cyril and Vivian. Despite this, Wilde had relationships with men, most notably his passionate and tempestuous affair with Lord Alfred Douglas Bosie. Wilde's relationship with Douglas ultimately led to his downfall. In 1895, after a public altercation with Bosie's father, the Marquess of Queensberry, Wilde sued the Marquess for libel. Queensberry's accusations exposed Wilde's homosexual relationships, which were illegal at the time under British law. Wilde's libel case backfired, and he was subsequently arrested and tried for gross indecency. The trials were a sensation, and Wilde, once a darling of society, was now vilified. In 1895, he was sentenced to 2 years of hard labor. The experience of imprisonment was brutal for Wilde, and his health deteriorated severely during his time in jail. His later work, The Ballad of Reading Gaol, 1898, reflects on the harsh conditions of prison life and the suffering of fellow inmates. After his release in 1897, Wilde lived in exile in France under the pseudonym Sebastian Melmoth. His wife had distanced herself, and his former social circles had largely abandoned him. Wilde spent his final years in poverty and ill health. He died of meningitis on November 30, 1900, at the age of 46 in Paris. Despite his tragic end, Wilde's literary legacy has endured. He is celebrated today as one of the greatest playwrights and novelists of the 19th century, remembered for his wit, humor, and keen social observations. His life, marked by both immense success and deep personal suffering, is a story of brilliance, fame, and the harsh realities of a society that both adored and condemned him. Here are the key takeaways. He was born October 16, 1854, in Dublin, Ireland. He was educated at Trinity College in Dublin and at Oxford University. His key works are The Picture of Dorian Gray, The Importance of Being Earnest, An Ideal Husband, and The Ballad of Reading Gaol. He was notable for his wit, aestheticism, and sharp social critique in his plays. The tragedy was that he was imprisoned for gross indecency in 1895 and died young on the 30th of November, 1900, in Paris, France. Oscar Wilde's life was a dramatic tale of brilliance and downfall, yet his wit, insights into society, and literary genius continue to inspire generations. This has been a quick biography created by the team at Best Audiobooks for free, published on both YouTube and Rumble. Please subscribe to our channel, as your subscription allows us to bring you more great free content. Please look to our website at www.bestaudiobooksforfree.com for a complete list of our audiobooks.